All right, guys, thought I'd do a little, actually I want to do a couple of videos with this car before I sell it. As you guys know, I've been selling some parts off the car, and I kind of want to do I don't know, like a drive and chat, kind of talk about the car and some of my thoughts with it. I'll kind of do a pros and cons, kind of like what I did with the S2000. So like I said, we'll go for a drive here. I just kind of want to talk through some things and, you know, why I decided to sell it and part it out. And you know, this car was pretty, you know, I bought a lot of parts over the years, and as you guys see from the list, it was, you know, a lot of quality parts that I bought, a lot from Japan, a lot of waiting time. So just wanted to kind of go through some pros and cons of the car. So just to recap, this is a 2016 Lexus GSF. I have about 14,000 miles on this car. I was the second owner. The car had about 10,000 miles on it when I bought it. So yeah, the previous owner, I think it was just kind of a lease deal. And as you guys know, this car is going for about $89,000 out the door, without, you know, taxes and tags and all that. So, you know, all said and done, you're looking at, you know, low 90s, mid 90s, you know, for this car. So, you know, in my opinion, guys, if, you know, you're debating whether to buy an F car, you know, I think it's one of those cars you got to own, whether it be an ISF or, you know, RCF or a GSF. And I kind of go through the pros and cons of why I bought the GSF. So let's kind of go for a drive, and I'll kind of talk you through some of the pros of the car. So kind of my journey too. I had actually two ISFs before this. I had a 09 and a 12. Yeah, the 12 I kind of built up similar to this car with the Tom's kit. You know, actually had a Sicky headers, Borla catback exhaust. That actually sounded pretty good. You know, personally, as I'm getting older, you know, I can't stand the unburnt fuel smell, so that's not something that I'm gonna do. Actually, I actually did pick up some headers for the car recently, from a guy from, you know, on the forums, some PPE equal length headers, that I think I paid like $2,200 in that range. And you know, I was planning on getting those put on this car, but like I said, stuff popped up that I have to sell the car, so that's not going to happen. I actually have a buyer that's local that's going to pick them up today. So, but anyway, okay, let's talk about some of the pros of this car. So the first thing is, guys, is the 5-liter V8. I mean, nothing beats this V8. I'm sorry. I mean, it sounds great, especially when it hits the intake, and you know, the VTEC, if you want to call it, just sounds great. You know, these natural aspirated engines are dying. You know, is it the fastest thing in the world? No, it doesn't. It's not forced induction. Does have twin turbos or a supercharger? Even though, you know, RR Racing gets you a supercharger for like 10,000 bucks, and I'll put you right there with any other car that's out on the road. You know, so yeah, the 5-liter is it's great, man. It's just, I got a Pixie mid pipe on this car with the Tom's kit or the Tom's axle. Just that's what I'm gonna miss about this car. It's just a V8. And again, in my opinion, guys, the Pixie mid pipe resonated with the Tom's axle back, whether it be stainless or titanium. You know, it's all gonna sound good. You know, the titanium gives it a little bit different sound, a little higher pitch. You know, yeah, it's ridiculously overpriced, but that's kind of one of my cons with this car. Everything that you buy on this car is just ridiculously overpriced. But that's just the way it goes. You know, you're buying parts for a $100,000 car. That's what they cost. So the 5-liter, anybody that's owned an F car, you guys know about that 5-liter I'm talking about. It's just, I love the 5-liter. Okay. The other pros of this car is the interior. I mean, bar none, this is the nicest interior. I mean, it's no Mercedes like S-Class with the 12-inch screens and all that stuff, but you know, for the Lexus, it's quality. There's no rattles in here. The seats are amazing. That's another plus. It just, you know, like I said, I'm about 6 foot, 210, 215, depending on what year you get me, what time of the year you get me. But yeah, these seats fit me great. Now, if you're a heavier set guy, a little wider guy, maybe, you know, pushing 220, 230, 240, I mean, it might be a little tight for you. But yeah, the seats, the interior is great. But at the same time, what kind of dates this car is the infotainment system, and I think it's well documented about the infotainment system, about the joystick and everything. I mean, I'm used to it. You just make sure you move the setting all the way to super sensitive, and you kind of get used to it. So I never really had a problem with it. The Mark Levinson sound system sounds pretty good. Is it the best one out there? No, but it does the job. But yeah, the interior it's a great place to be. I mean, I've always loved the red interiors in this car. But it's just, it's got the suede insert, the suede on the top of the dash, but just a lot of detail. But at the end of the day, it should have a lot of detail. It's a $90,000 car, so it should have these features. I mean, again, the tech does let it down a little bit on the as far as when you compare it to its competitors, but it does the job. Okay. And then in previous videos I've talked about reliability. Like, hands down, you can actually beat the crap out of these cars and it's just going to take it. I mean, it's just the reliability's there all day long. Like I said, I've had Mercedes and Audis and all the other you just worry, especially when it's out of warranty. So with this thing, I'd have no problem letting the warranty lapse on a car like this, because it's built to last. And that's kind of one of the drawbacks too, is that it doesn't have the state-of-the-art transmission. Again, that's what dates this car as well. You put it in Sport Plus, it's a little bit more aggressive shifting. It's kind of similar to the Corvette. You got to hammer it to get the most out of the transmission. So again, is it the quickest transmission out there? No, it's not. I mean, you're not buying this car because it's the latest, best of technology, the fastest thing, the best transmission out there. I mean, I think it's well documented as well. Like, the PDKs are one of the best transmissions, and that's not this transmission. Now, when Lexus is building high performance cars, they're looking at reliability, because these cars are going to be beaten. So I don't know exactly what the transmission on this car is. I think it's a torque converter, 8-speed. But again, it's based on it's the reliability factor, and that's Lexus's MO. So with this car, when you do get on it and it's in Sport Plus or Sport, it's going to give you the shift. It's not instantaneous. There might be a little delay. Now, when it's in normal mode, it's not bad. I mean that's where 95% of the time you're going to be, just kind of cruising around, putting around. But when you put it on Sport Plus, it does give you the gear. Now and then when you're downshifting and stuff, it'll go beep beep. That's kind of annoying, but again, that's just the software built in, so you don't blow the motor, I guess. I don't know, but again, the transmission does kind of date the car. Again, the Practicality is another plus I have down here listed. You can fit 4 people in here comfortably. There's plenty of room in the back. For luggage and stuff, you can easily put golf bags and stuff in here, so it's pretty practical that way. When you put car seats back here, it's that's kind of the reason why I bought the truck, because it's a little bit easier to get kids in and out of it. And to be honest with you, I mean, if I kept this car, my kids wouldn't even be in this car, because they're just gonna hog it up with their food, their snacks and all that stuff, and their drinks. So again, it's just kind of it was kind of just going to be my car if I was going to keep it. But yeah, it's pretty practical for what it is. And then the customer service, that's a huge thing for me. Every time I go into Lexus, it's great customer service. I don't have to call a million times to get somebody. I get somebody every time. You call a local Ford dealership, you barely can get a hold of service department. It's annoying. But customer service, like anytime they had a warranty issue, they always stood behind it. I guess the fuel pumps I had to replace on this car because of a recall on the car. And it's just, they can come and pick up your car, and drive it back to the dealership. I said I live in Lancaster, so Bobby Rahal is one of the closer dealerships I have. They'll come to my house and pick up the car, which would never happen, because I'm not gonna have them, some guy drive a 500 horsepower back and he's not gonna beat it, right? But anyway, side note. So there's some of the pros of this car, and I said I've driven about 5,000 miles. I've had it for about 2.5 years. And by far, this is one of my favorite Lexus vehicles I've ever owned. I've had an RX 350 F Sport, and that was, the ISS were good, but again, they lack some things that this car has. So, like I said, kind of reiterating on some of the cons is the tech. So the tech is, like I said, I think it's well documented. I'm not going to go into it, but the tech is, I mean, it does its job as far as the sound system's good, but as far as the, you know, most GPSs, you know, or any built-in infotainment screens, I mean, they're going to be out of date pretty quickly, but, you know, the graphics are not great on this infotainment screen, and that's probably one of my cons, okay? And I already talked about the transmission. You know, it's not the fastest transmission out there, but it's going to be reliable. It's not going to cost you money, most likely, if you are, you know, if you're just driving it like going normal and beating it every now and then. Okay. Other con is the price of this car. So, I mean, you're looking at $90,000 for this car. Now, I didn't pay that. I bought it, what, a couple years old with about 10,000 miles on it, so I got a really good deal in the car. I think I paid around $60,000, which I think that's where this car should be as far as price goes. Like I said, a lot of people, these are sitting on the dealerships for a while, and they got a lot better price than that. I think probably in the upper 60s. Man, that's the one thing I'm gonna miss about this car. And then I said, with the epoxy mid pipe and that axle back, man, it's nothing better, man. That's what I'm gonna miss. But yeah, going back to price, it is expensive. I think, you know, with the RCF and the GSF, in my opinion, this is a better car than the RCF. I think the chassis is better. I think the interior is better. I think it's a better package overall. And guys, this is my opinion. You know, the RCF is not a bad car, but I just think this is a better car overall. Let's see. Aftermarket parts is a con. So not a ton of aftermarket support. And then the parts that you do have, that you have available, they're super expensive. I mean, you guys know I'll put the parts up on Club Lexus. I mean, you know what these parts cost. I mean, you're looking at headers for like $3,100. This Tom's kit's like over $6,000. The axle back, you know, you guys know what that costs. The titanium axle back. I mean, it's insane. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you want to play, you got to pay. But you know, to me, I wanted to source the best parts possible for this car. And I think I did a pretty good job, and I think you guys have commented before that you liked the build that I did here. You know, I have a lot of sweat and tears in this car, and you know, obviously I'm sad to see it go, but you know, there'll be another one. I'm eyeing down maybe an LCF in a few years, depending on if they make improvements on that car. You know, I'm thinking that's probably going to be a 5-liter twin turbo. But to me, the transmission needs to come up a little bit, because I know that car's probably going to be $150,000. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, guys, you know, life happens when you have a couple kids at daycare. You know, priorities change in your life, and this is a car that I don't drive that much. It's kind of one of those cars that it's just a weekend toy for me, and kind of like the S2000 was. But this car I will miss. And I'm glad I'm making this video so I can reflect back on this car and you know, what I did to it. So what else? Let me see what else here. I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I would say the one thing too from a $90,000 car is that what you need to do, or what you need to spend, in my opinion, to make it what it is. I mean, my car, I mean, I don't think this car is aggressive enough. I think it sits too high. You got to lower it. You got to get it that stance. And when you buy this full Tom's kit, man, it just sets it apart. You got to black the chrome out. That's a must. You know, the chrome makes no sense on this car. You know, just all the little things that I did to this car to make it what it was is you know, what I'm gonna miss about it. You know, when I start taking the parts off, it's just not as special in my opinion. You know, but you know, you guys know when this car, you buy it from Lexus, again, you know, if you guys see how it sits, it's kind of reverse rake on it. But I guess, you know, for whatever reason they do that. But you know, I do like the front end. Again, that's kind of you know, it's a hit or miss whether you like it or you don't. But you know, I liked it. I like the look of it, especially with the triple LED lights and the body kit on this car. It just looks good. And also too, when you get the car, it is a little quiet. So you almost have to put an exhaust on it. That's like a must. You know, I started out with the Apexi mid pipe, which I think gave it a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more growl. And then I tried the Tanabe axle back, and it was just too groany for me. So I swapped that out. You know, I was looking at the Meister shaft, I think it is. There's a couple exhausts out there for this car. I mean, in my opinion, they're just way too loud. So, you know, it's, you know, a lot of the guys that went the you know, different exhaust route and didn't do the toms, didn't take my Tom's advice, if you will, and they wound up selling that one they bought and buy a Tom. So the Tom is good. The Tom is gonna be loud when you want it to be, but not drony and annoying. So that's what I like. But I mean, I know the stainless version is really affordable, so I think that's like, what, a few $1,000. Don't quote me on that. You know, when this titanium one popped up, and yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but you know, I pretty much took the beating on that one for you guys. So if you want to pick mine up, you know, save a couple $1,000. It's still for sale. I had tons of interest, you know, but I'm not going to give it away. I don't need to get rid of the parts, obviously. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna miss this car. You know, would I buy another one? Yeah, possibly. You know, they're still making the 2020s. You know, in 4 years from now, when my first kid gets out of daycare, you know, that'll free up a lot of money. You know, could I buy another one? Sure. But I think by then, though, I think in 4 years, I think hopefully Lexus takes some strides, and you know, I like the coupe of the LC. I just think that's another expensive car. You know, if I was gonna buy it, I'd probably buy another, like, you know, year or two old, kind of like this one. You know, as long as I like giving my money to Lexus and all, but you know, buying these cars a couple years old is the best way to go. But yeah, so I'm selling my parts. Actually sold quite a bit of them so far. It is painful parting cars out, as you guys know, taking the parts off and dealing with all the people and everything like that, which is fine, but you know, it's kind of part of it. But yeah, I'm gonna miss this car, and I'm trying to think. I was, you know, debating what I'm gonna do here in transition in regards to like what I'm gonna do for a car, but I might take a, you know, year or two break, or a few year break, and just you know, just take a chill for a little bit, and but you know, still make some videos here and there. Just like I said, I bought a truck. I've been trying to upload a video, but I have no time. But yeah, in my opinion, this is a car that you definitely have to own an F car. If you're a car guy, I think it's important to own an F car with this 5-liter V8, because I would say in the next year or two, you know, these 5-liter V8s are going to be going extinct, and yeah, I mean, these cars are losing a little bit of value in the first 3 or 4 years, but most high performance cars do. So it's, whether it be an AMG or a, you know, any other type of high performance car, they're going to lose money. It's just the way it goes. You know, it's just reality of the matter. But I think long term, I think this car will bottom out if it's not. I mean, this has got 14,000 miles on it. It's still worth 50, 51, 52. You know, Lexus actually gave me a number, 46.5 for this car, the buyback. I mean, obviously they're going to certify it and probably sell it on their lot for 53, 54. And then most likely they'll probably settle on like a 52 number. But, you know, like I said, I paid 60 grand for it. I drove it 2.5 years, and if I wanted to sell it privately, I could. I'd probably get 49.50 out of it, but you know, I just kind of want to move on, and not deal with all the stuff that comes with selling privately. And I do have a loan on this car, so that, you know, I don't want to pay what I think I owe like $30,000 on the car yet. So, you know, I want to go through all that, paying off the loan, and then dealing with the title crap. So, but yep. That's what this car is all about, guys. Just this V8. So, but like I said, you wait a couple more years, these GSFs will probably be in the 40s, and they're a lot more affordable. So, but that's all I had, guys. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, comments, just comment down below. We'll see you on the next one.